Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead. Well, today, Mama Wolfie and I are going to make our Christmas fruitcakes. Okay, first off, we're going to prep our fruit and nuts. Here we have, now these are approximate measurements, folks, because I really don't measure, but I'm going to say a cup of pecans and 2 cups of slivered almonds. We have approximately 2 cups or a cup and a half of red and green cherries. I have some of my dehydrated apples. I'm going to put about a half a cup of those in there. These are my candied citrus peels that I made last year. We have 1 cup of currants and 1 cup each of brown raisins and yellow raisins and about 2 cups of apricots. Now what we have to do first is Mama Wolfie's going to take some scissors and cut up my citrus peel because it's in strips. And I'm going to take another pair of scissors and cut up our apricots. Then we're going to cut the cherries in half. We use kitchen scissors because they work the best. All you have to do is make sure they're washed clean, and we poured boiling water over them to make sure they're sterile. Those scissors work okay for you?
Great.
All right. Okay, so while Mama Wolfie's cutting those up, I'm going to start cutting up my apricots. These apricots were dried, so what I did was I rinsed them off and I put them in a bowl and covered them with boiling water to plump for about an hour and a half. And all we're going to do is take these and cut them into slivers with clean scissors. Alright, we'll be back when our fruit and nuts are all prepped. Okay, now that my apricots are done, I'm going to start in on the colored cherries. Now I'm not a huge fan of candied cherries, and I rinse them off because I don't like the syrup they sit in. But it's a fruit cake for Christmas. You've got to have red and green bits in it. And so I always buy just a little bit to put in the fruit cakes. Okay, while Mom butters our cake pans, I'm going to get on the batter. And what we need for the batter is 3½ cups of flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a ½ teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of my pumpkin pie spice. So we have that. We need 9 eggs, 1 pound of butter, and 2 cups or 1 pint of our homestead honey. As always, we cream our butter and our sugars together first. In this case, it's just butter and honey. We can't make all these ingredients at home all the time, but we do what we can, like the dried apples and the candied citrus peel. And alrighty, let's get that stirring. And while that's creaming, we're going to start cracking in our 9 eggs. Now we're just going to start adding some of our flour, a little bit at a time. All right, let's give that a good whip. Let's turn it down, and we're going to start adding our fruit. Cherries, until we just can't get any more fruit in this bowl. One of the things you got to know about fruitcake, if you're hand stirring this, folks, always stir clockwise. Never go back and forth, one direction, the other direction, because your fruit won't settle in the batter properly. Raisins, yellow and brown. I like to do Thompson raisins, but I couldn't find any this year. Currants. They don't call this fruit cake for nothing. Apricots. She's getting pretty full. If this machine can do bread, it can do fruit cake. And our citrus peel. And I'm just going to dump in, I don't know, about a ½ cup of my dehydrated apples. Let's see if the cowgirl explodes. Here go the pecans and the slivered almonds. Woo, she's pretty full. This is designed with just enough cake batter to hold the fruit and nuts together. Good job, cowgirl. Now we're just going to take my big old ladle and fill each one. It looks really full, but it's not because it has to settle in. Looks like we're only going to get 9 after all. These are going into a 300-degree oven for about an hour and a half. I'm going to put in the oven below this tray, I will be putting a cake pan of water just so that these don't dry out because we are baking them a long time. All right, we'll be back when these come out of the oven. Papa's going to take our fruitcakes out of the oven for us because I hurt my back putting them in. Nice view, dear. Just put them on the table, sweetheart. Okay, while the cakes are still hot, I like to brush them with our homestead honey. Now, if you folks want to have alcohol in your cake, you can add a little bit to the mix when they come out of the oven. Just take a pastry brush or a very new clean paintbrush and brush on some rum or apricot brandy while the cakes are still hot, because then it just, as they cool, it just soaks it right in. There we go. Now that we got a nice coating of honey on here, we're going to do a little bit of decorating. We're just going to pinch a cherry off here and there and just put it on the top for color. Now these fruitcakes, because believe it or not, our household isn't really fond of fruitcakes. I like a little bit. These fruitcakes are pretty much gifts for family. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead says, nothing says loving at Christmas time like a fruitcake from a loved one.